Is this a great game or what? With the Hall of Famer Tim Kurkjian, I'm his son Jeff Kurkjian, another Friday edition, and officially we have 1 week of Major League Baseball in the book. Dad, hi, how are you doing?
Good, Jeff. Again, I'm not sure I've ever seen a more wacky, remarkable, noteworthy first week of a baseball season than what we saw. All sorts of bizarre, crazy things happened. We'll detail some of them. And today, Jeff, is also April the 4th. So in the calendar, that's 4-4. So in honor of that, our team, Tim, is going to be the all 4x4 team. So we have a player at each position with exactly 4 letters in his first and last name. Okay. Now, again, only pathetic people like me do stuff like this, but what a perfect time to do the all 4x4 team. And we'll give away one because he was such a great guest to us. Who?
Adam Dunn? Did he make the
Adam
list?
Dunn is
I was about to ask.
Adam Dunn is the DH on our team. So you can use your own DH. Adam Dunn is the DH on our team. All right. So Jeff, I want to see how much you were paying attention from the first week. Okay. Remember, we had to tape on Monday afternoon because it's a 2-man show here and we don't have enough manpower to be doing stuff until midnight and releasing at 12:01 because you're the only technical advisor, producer, and director that we have.
Well, even if we had a staff of 100, I still wake up at 3:30 in the morning to do morning radio, country music morning show in Philadelphia on 92.5 XTU, and the show gets played in Boston on Country 102.5 and in Las Vegas on 107.9 Coyote Country. So I need to go to bed at some point. So yeah, just like today, we might miss some Thursday action because we're doing this kind of during the games on Thursday, but we do the very best we can to stay updated. But did something happen on Monday you want to quiz me about?
You. Now, if you were reading the box scores, there was one player that stood out on Monday, and I think he is the highlight of the rest of the week. And I will give you a huge hint, okay? This is a relationship show. This is personal. So this guy is my favorite player in the game today. Even though he's not my favorite, I don't have favorite players. I don't have favorite teams. I'm not rooting for anyone, but this guy's name alone makes him my pseudo favorite player in the game. And he had a remarkable day. And I'll give you one more clue, Jeff. He did it in a place that we were talking about on Monday with Dallas Braden.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we had Dallas Braden on the show earlier this week. He's a broadcaster for the Athletics. And you have to be talking about Carson Kelly, who hit for the cycle for the Chicago Cubs.
I am so proud of you. You're actually watching. They said in Ghostbusters, you never studied. Jeff, you're studying. I appreciate it. So, explain
and he also
Carson Kelly to our listeners.
Well, okay. First of all, it's 4-4. He went 4 for 4. Hit for the cycle, had 2 walks as well, so good on him. He, in the first ever game played for the Athletics in their new temporary home. But the reason why Carson Kelly is important to our show is because your grandson's name is Carson, and his mom's name is Kelly, your daughter, my sister.
So my firstborn
Kelly has Carson.
My firstborn child is named Kelly. My firstborn grandchild is named Carson. So Carson Kelly hit for the cycle. First player ever to hit for the cycle in the month of March. 17th catcher to hit for the cycle. 4th number 9 hitter to hit for the cycle. And let's test you one more time, Jeff. Let's see if the studying continues. One more time. Give me 4 guys who never hit for the cycle, 4 guys who didn't do what Carson Kelly just did.
You've got Willie Mays.
Yes.
Barry Bonds.
Yes.
Hank Aaron.
Yes.
And
it's Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth. And I thought he did everything
Jeff,
in his career.
What team is he on? Babe Ruth.
Of course, he's on the all 4x4 team, which we're going to be getting to.
Right. I have to stand corrected. I do have a favorite player in baseball, and I am not hiding this. He's been up and down in the big leagues. His name is Blake Sabol. Blake, Sabol. Now, let's see if you can remember as I quiz you for a third time in the first 5 minutes. What differentiates Blake Sabol from anybody else? And you know how much I love, I'm giving it away, how much I love anagrams.
Oh, does his name go into baseball or something like that? Blake Sabol?
Blake Sabol has the word baseball in his name when it's an anagram. So you can either say, okay, baseball, or baseball, okay, when you use Blake Sabol's name.
Dad, the things that keep you going throughout the day, I love. It's like when my daughter gets a new toy. I'm like, look how excited she is. It might not excite me, but seeing her excited gets me excited. And that's the way I feel about your anagrams.
Jeff, again, these were things that I was doing when I was 7 years old. And I'm now 68 years old, and I'm still doing them, and I'm not apologizing for them because they make me happy, and baseball should make you happy. And that's what we do on this show. Hopefully we make people happy. We make them smile, and we make them laugh, and they learn something while they listen to our podcast.
Before we get to the takeaways, Dad, I want to do a quick announcement, and this is kind of down the realm of poor Pop really fast. We are now officially on TikTok, Dad.
Right.
At Great Game or What, if people want to follow us. So you are on TikTok with your own account. How do you feel about that?
Well, I assume you are managing that account.
Yes.
Because I promise you, I couldn't find TikTok with a map and a flashlight. And even though, of course, we've all acknowledged I was a star for one day on TikTok when I danced with JoJo Siwa at the 2021 celebrity softball game. You and Andy Jacobson, our producer, insisted that I dance with JoJo Siwa. And how many views? What is it, Jeff? How many hits? How many hits did we get on TikTok?
We got more hits than Ty Cobb. I had to do, way more than that.
Jeff,
way more than that.
We got more hits than Ty Cobb and Pete Rose and Ichiro combined, including Ichiro's hits in
Japan.
Yeah, I think all of that is true. I think we got millions of hits, and I don't even know what it is. But the point is, we're on TikTok, whatever that is, and I'm happy about that because anything that you work so hard to try to grow this show, so I'm in for whatever you need, okay?
Yeah, and it sounds self-serving, Dad, and we joked about it at the top. We are a two-man show. We're the only people who work here. And so any way that people can spread the show, share it with a friend, take this episode, hit subscribe at the top, then send it to a friend who you think would love it because you want to share the laughter and the fun of this great game and what we get to do together, Dad. I have a blast doing this. So share it with your friends. Let's jump right into the takeaways with one full week of Major League Baseball regular season under the belt. What do you have?
Well, Jeff, there are a million ways to go, but the low-hanging fruit is the only place to start. The Dodgers, through Wednesday now, okay, we're not going to update through Thursday night because we don't have time. The Dodgers are 8-0, so this is the best start ever for a defending world champion. And it's not just that they've won 8 in a row. It's the way they have won. Look at Wednesday night's game. They win, they're way behind the Braves early, 5-0 after 2, come back and beat the Braves 6-5 on a walk-off homer, of course, by Shohei Ohtani. We've been talking about this, Jeff, for 3 weeks. The Dodgers are one of the deepest teams I've ever seen. And even though they're in a division right now with the Padres and the Giants. So this is the first division since divisional play began in 1969, where this many games into a season, one division has 25 victories and no more than 7 losses as an entire division. That's how good the Padres have been. That's how good the Giants have been. And even the Rockies have won a couple games. So this is the point with the Dodgers, how great they are. The depth in their starting rotation is preposterous. The depth in their everyday lineup is the same. And Shohei, now speaking of the Rockies have scored 10 runs this year. Shohei has scored 11 by himself. So he has outscored the Rockies. The Astros have scored 12 runs this year. They go to the LCS every year, and they've only scored one more run than Shohei Ohtani. And the Braves have only scored 14 runs, and they're supposed to be a great offensive team. Of course, they're not because of all their injuries, but it just shows you how dominant Shohei has been. But the entire team, Tommy Edman, Mookie Betts, everybody, it's really just been breathtaking to watch that everyone was wondering, how great is this team going to be? And under that kind of pressure, they're 8-0. Incredible.
Yeah. And, talk about the Braves. I've brought some stats to the table, Dad. No team has ever made the playoffs in Major League Baseball history after starting with 7 straight losses. No team ever.
They are the 30th team ever to start out 0-7, and none of those 30 has ever made the playoffs.
And even only 14 teams in the history of Major League Baseball have ever made the playoffs after losing 4 or more games to start the season. So think about how many years we've been playing the game.
Right. It's incredible. And along that line, don't ever forget, Jeff, I covered the 1988 Orioles, and they lost 21 games in a row to start the season. So you look, again, that team was terrible, and the Braves are good. But the Braves would have to lose 14 more consecutive games to start the season to match what the Orioles did in 1988.
How do you even write for that team, though, Dad? Like, at what point did you write a lead that was like, when will this end? Headline.
I wrote that multiple times. After game number 14 in Milwaukee, Scott McGregor, one of the pitchers, one of the great guys ever, said, why are all these national media with us every day? I said, Scotty, just win a game, and they're all going to go home. And I told you the story, Jeff. After loss number 18, Frank Robinson, the manager, took all the writers out to dinner. I'm going to tell you again. Halfway through dinner, I said to Frank, has anyone called, to give you any support during this streak? And he goes, yeah, the president called me today. Now, Frank was a big kidder, so I challenged him 3 times on this. And he said, damn it, the president of the United States called me today. I said, Frank, what did he say? He said, Frank, I know what you're going through. And Frank said, Mr. President, you got no idea what I'm going through. That's how bad 0-21 was. And the Braves, who are going to go home to start their home schedule, are going to go home 0-7, having gotten pounded by the Dodgers and pounded by the Padres.
Well, you'll be happy to know, Dad, that neither do the Padres or the Dodgers or the Braves play on Thursday, April 3rd, with this releasing on Friday, April 4th. So we won't miss anything, right?
First, I got to tell you about the Padres real quickly. They are 7-0. And the one thing to keep in mind about the Padres, they have really good starting pitching. Their bullpen is breathtaking when it's going really well. The most important thing, though, they are not afraid of the Dodgers. They have gone toe-to-toe with the Dodgers in that division and multiple times in the playoffs in recent years. So I'm not suggesting for a second that they're better than the Dodgers or going to beat the Dodgers, but they are not intimidated by the Dodgers. So those are my 3 takeaways: the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Braves. Pretty easy given that 2 teams are undefeated and 1 team is winless.
I got to say, though, I'm a little disappointed. I'm looking at the schedule right now. We won't see the Dodgers meet the Padres until June the 9th.
That's incredible. But, Jeff, this is what happens when you're not playing your division 19 times a year, only, 10 times a year, 12 times a year, whatever it is. So keep that in mind, all right?
We got the Quirkjians for Is This a Great Game or What? What do you have, Dad, for the last week?
I only had a few days to pick from. Normally I have a week, but now we're going every 2 weeks, so it's a challenge. Well, first off, Rafael Devers got a hit, finally, okay? He was 0 for 19, Jeff, with 15 strikeouts. Then he extended it to 0 for 21. and then he finally got a hit. So we said last week, through 4 games, he had 12 strikeouts, a record. And that was as many as Yogi Berra had in the 1950 season. Then he, through 5 games, he had 15 strikeouts, which is the most ever in the first 5 games of any season. Tony Gwynn had 15 strikeouts in the 1995 season. The entire season, Jeff, over 500 at bats. I mean, that's just so I bring up this point because Rafael Devers is an elite major league hitter. He is on a Hall of Fame track, and it just shows you again how difficult this game is to play when the best players in the game, granted, he's had some elbow issues and he didn't have a complete spring training, so there are excuses involved, but it just shows you again how hard this game is to play. Okay, speaking of which, Eugenio Suarez of the Diamondbacks, his first 5 hits this year, Jeff, have been home runs. So he doesn't have any other hits other than a home run. Rob Deere's first 5 in 1992 were home runs, and Rudolfo Castro in 2021, his first 5 hits were homers. So no one's ever gone. Their first 6 hits in a season were all homers. So Eugenio Suarez has a chance to do that. And Jeff, he has all the vowels in his when you combine his first and last name. I love that. Although, as we know, Nelson Figueroa and Ed Figueroa, they had all vowels in their last name. Think about that for a second.
I know this is where you live right now. 5 homers. He, as of Thursday, leads the league with the most home runs and 0 other hits as of Thursday.
But Jeff, this is how the game is played today. Eugenio Suarez and so many other big power hitters are told, we don't need you to hit a line drive single to right field. We want you to hit it in the stand somewhere. So he's just doing what he's been asked to do. Okay, on opening day, the home opener for the Orioles, they grounded into 3 double plays, Jeff. And that's only significant because last year they grounded into 71 double plays the whole season. And that was the fewest GIDPs in a full season of any team in Major League history. And if you don't think that matters, just remember, Jeff, what a downer it is when you got a rally going and a guy grounds into a double play. They set the record last year, and they already got 3 in their home opener. I don't know if that's a sign of anything. And always remember, Jeff, a GIDP is different than a hitting into a double play because you could line out into a double play. GIDP is a separate category where you hit a ground ball and it results in a double play.
It's actually something I didn't know.
Jeff,
like from a scoring aspect, I didn't realize
it's not important that you know this, Jeff. It's just I just need to clarify the difference between GIDPs and whatever else. And last thing, Jeff, I got such a kick out of this. I'm not sure why, but Jack Leiter of the Rangers pitch. He's made 2 starts this year and has pitched really well. And he's the son, of course, of Al Leiter. And Jack Leiter's, I'm getting to the point, Jack Leiter's grandmother was born in England and still has a British accent to this day. And your grandmother, Nana, was born in England, and she had a British accent until she died at age 96. How cool is that?
It was definitely cool, but I have to, and I would never talk badly, especially of somebody who's passed, but in the days she lived with us, she would sometimes pull out these ridiculous words when I would play Scrabble with her, claiming that they were in like a British slang term. And I'm like, Nana, there's no words that have an X and a Z next to each other. And she's like, yes, there is. Yes, there is. All right, there's 74 points. And of course, she's my elder. I'm not going to tell her no. So I put it down. I lose by 190 points in Scrabble.
Right. Well, we let Nana get away with it. Nana was one of the great Scrabble players ever. But when you're playing Scrabble at 94, we're gonna give a little leeway there. So, and last thing about Jack Leiter. So this is what I got a kick out of. I'm watching the game on TV, and one of the camera guys in Cincinnati that day was named Jack Leiter. So Jack Leiter is the camera guy. and Jack Leiter is the pitcher. I'm not sure we've ever seen anything quite like that.
Now, Dad, this is a part of the show that's really important. So if you're driving right now or mowing your lawn or whatever, listen carefully, because we want you listening to the show to be a part of the show with our I Am a Seamhead segment that we brought to the podcast this season. And the point of this is, Dad, we got so many amazing messages last year, whether it was on our website or on social media, of people sharing hilarious things of what makes them big fans of this game. So you came up with the great idea of letting them send us a voice memo, a message, an audio message that we can play on the podcast explaining why they are a Seamhead, right? And so it would sound something like this. Hi, I'm Jeff Kurkjian, and I'm a Seamhead because I collected every single rookie card from Cal Ripken Jr.'s rookie year, and I have them displayed above my bed. I'm Jeff Kurkjian, and I am a Seamhead, right? Like those kind of things, or things you can recall and remember. And Dad, you've tapped into some of your baseball friends to provide us the first couple Seamheads. But listen, if you're part of the family of Is This a Great Game or What? We need you and your messages of why you're a Seamhead. So you can reach out to me, email jeff@greatgameorwhat.com, or you can just go to greatgameorwhat.com and submit it there. Reach out, ask, how can I send this? And I'll reach out to you personally in order to get that message. So, Dad, we have a special one today from a friend of yours.
Yes, and this is Jeff Bennett. He is probably the greatest researcher in the history of ESPN, which is really saying something, since Mark Simon, who did I Am a Seamhead, Sarah Langs, who's going to do I Am a Seamhead. This time it's Jeff Bennett, and let's take a listen to this because this is incredible.
Now, I'm not artistic or musically inclined, so it's possibly my greatest talent is my recall of fronts and backs of baseball cards, my sweet spot being tops from about 1982 to 85. So some examples, these are their primary cards, not super veteran or in action or all-star cards. We'll say 1982 Steve Garvey, posing with a bat and a big smile. He's a Dodger, very similar to his 85 card when he's a Padre, also smiling with the bat. He likes to smile. Cal Ripken Jr. in 83, finishing his swing in an orange top. 84, Don Mattingly. It's a close-up of him fielding stance at first base. Photo looks like it could have been taken for the first base coaching box. Very close. Those are all stars. Here's a little deeper cut for you. Mike Flanagan had a great career. 1984 with the O's. The photo is capturing him. He's a mid wind-up, possibly going to throw to first base to pick someone off if there's anyone on base, but he's perfectly balanced on the rubber. So my memory is a little fuzzy at this age now of my baseball card fronts, but still pretty strong on the backs. I know hundreds and hundreds of player birthdays, often their place of birth as well. So baseball cards have that little bio date at the top. My favorites are Carl Yastrzemski, 8/23/39, Southampton, New York. Dwight Gooden, 11/16/64, Tampa, Florida. Roger Clemens, 8/4/62, Dayton, Ohio, not Texas. Wade Boggs, 6/15/58, Omaha, Nebraska, not Tampa. And Pete Rose, 4/14/41, Cincinnati, Ohio. Not to be confused with Greg Maddux of 4/14/66, of course. You get the idea. It's the only party trick I have. I'm Jeff Bennett, and I'm a Seamhead.
So that could be you. Send us a voice memo of why you are a Seamhead. Dad, Jeff Bennett, that was unbelievable.
I told you, Jeff, it's an obsession. It's unhealthy at times, but it's what separates baseball, I believe, from the other sports. And if anyone out there actually thinks that Jeff Bennett was at home reading that stuff off the back of Carl Yastrzemski's baseball card, then you don't know Jeff Bennett. So I remember we challenged him on this. We found baseball cards from the 82 through 85. Jeff, that's 4 years of baseball cards. And I just challenged him and said, all right, robbing you out in 1982. And he just went like this without even hesitating. He said, he had 2 cards that year. One, he's running out of the box after getting a hit. Second one, he's leading off of first base. I don't know what it was. We checked. He was absolutely right. And again, if there are any listeners or viewers out there who want to send us an I Am a Seamhead, we will take it. Because I will tell you, Jeff, I'm running out of obsessed baseball friends. We need some strangers to call in and contribute to the show.
You can send us a voice memo, jeff@greatgameorwhat.com or @greatgameorwhat on social media, and I can pull it directly from there. On this date in baseball history, Dad, you're already obsessing over April the 4th, 4-4.
Right.
So what do you
All
got
right,
for
so
us?
it's a theme this week. 3 different guys on this date, Jeff, hit 3 home runs in a game on opening day. George Bell in 1988, first guy ever to hit 3 home runs on opening day. Dimitri Young hit 3 homers on opening day in 2005. And let's see, Jeff, as I quiz you one more time, who was the obscure Cubs outfielder who hit 3 home runs on opening day 1994, all of them against Dwight Gooden? I used this on the show like a week ago, and you can't remember it. Jeff, every time you bring up a musical record.
Oh, I know. Was it Carl Rhodes?
Yes. I can't believe you got his real first name. Tuffy Rhodes. Way to go, Jeff.
Tuffy. Well, I'll tell you why I remember it, Carl Rhodes, because I cut that clip for our social media, and every time I'm about to put all the captions in, I have to double check all of the spelling for the captions, right? Make sure we don't spell Phil Necro's last name wrong, because then we're going to get slammed by all of the baseball fans on social media. So I type in Tuffy Rhodes, right, to make sure I have, quite frankly, Rhodes spelled correctly, right? And it says Carl Tuffy Rhodes.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that was his first name. So I think that's what came to my mind first.
But Jeff, where we're going, we don't need Rhodes.
Tuffy Rhodes.
All right.
Every Friday episode, Dad, we've been doing the best of all. Tim, you pick an organization, a team, and you deem the best player, in your opinion, to ever play for that team. We've knocked out the Dodgers and the Cubs with the Japan series. And then because of opening day and the history in Cincinnati, we did that last week. So if you missed it, make sure to check that out. Who do you want to talk about this week?
As a tribute to Dallas Braden, who was such a hilarious guest for us this week, we're going to do the Oakland A's. Now, we can go all the way back to the A's, back to the Philadelphia A's, but I don't think it matters. Ricky Henderson is the greatest A's player ever. And we've been over this, Jeff. He's the greatest leadoff hitter of all time. He is the all-time stolen base leader, and there is not a close second. He is, at worst, one of the 15 greatest players of all time. And if he played today, he would be even greater. All-time run scored leader, an amazing guy. And remember the stat we used, Jeff. He walked leading off an inning 796 times. And my friend Craig Wright looked this up. 45% of the position players in the Hall of Fame did not walk as many times total as Ricky Henderson did leading off innings. Wow. And that tells me that Ricky Henderson leads off an inning, and that's different than coming up with runners on base, because with runners on base, he's saying, I got to be a different hitter. I got to drive these guys in. But when he leads off an inning, he's just saying, if I can get on base, I'm going to steal second. I'm going to cause havoc. That's how great Ricky Henderson was. He's the greatest A, for me, of all time.
And in tradition with every Friday, from Ozzie to Orel, the best players from 1 to 55. We've knocked out 1, 2, 3, and 4, Dad, but we teased it last week. We said number 5 is not going to be an easy one, so we're only going to do 1 today. Who, in your opinion, is the greatest player to ever wear the number 5? Reminding everybody, this is your opinion.
It might be the best number ever. I haven't done that research, but these are the guys who aren't even in the top 3. George Brett, Brooks Robinson, Jeff Bagwell, Hank Greenberg, all wore number 5, and I don't even think they make the top 3 number 5s of all time. And again, Jeff, this is really important for our listeners and our viewers. This is my opinion. Your opinion is valid. Whatever you want. If you disagree with me, please, because there are so many great options here. Johnny Bench is the greatest catcher of all time for me. He was the greatest Cincinnati Red for me last week, and it's anyone who votes for Johnny Bench is the greatest number 5. I'm in. Joe DiMaggio is the 4th greatest center fielder of all time for me. Again, my list, nobody else's. Willie Mays, Ty Cobb, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio. Joe DiMaggio's career was absurdly great. Lifetime 325 hitter, 361 homers, 369 strikeouts, never struck out 40 times in a season. One of the great winners, one of the great defensive center fielders ever. And I cannot believe I'm not putting him as the number 1, number 5 of all time. I'm going with Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols did it longer than Joe DiMaggio. And even though he had some bad years, unlike Joe DiMaggio, who never had a bad year, you look at Albert Pujols' body of work. He's either the second or the third greatest first baseman of all time behind Lou Gehrig. It's either Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, and Pujols, or it's Gehrig, Pujols and Fox. You look at his first 10 years in the league, and they were arguably the greatest first 10 years that any player has ever had. 600 homers, 3,000 hits, just an amazing player and a guy who cared about winning about as much as anyone I've ever met. So call in and scream at me, but I'm going Pujols as the greatest number 5. It is a fist fight of all fist fights, but it's a good-natured one because there are great, there are great arguments to be made for so many number 5s.
Johnny Bench mentioned at the end of our interview with him last year that he would love to come back on the show. And I just got an Instagram message said he's no longer interested in coming back on. Dad, what are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. That is really tough. Between those 3, DiMaggio, you've got Pujols, you've got Johnny Bench, but then you add the other ones at the top.
Brett, are you kidding me? Brooks Robinson.
George Brett, Brooks Robinson,
Jeff Bagwell,
Hank
wildly
Greenberg.
underrated. Hank Greenberg, one of the great right-handed hitters of all time. I'm sure Lou Boudreau. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of other guys who wear 5, but this is the best.
Jeff Bagwell, not saying he's better than DiMaggio, but still another great number 5.
Right. Absolutely. That's our Ozzie to Orel from this week. Okay.
And keeping in mind that if you want to debate yours, you can do so on social media and let us know what you think at Great Game or What. Dad, today is April 4th, and only in a way that only you can, you have come up with a Team Tim called the All-4-4 team. Now, when you had told me this, you texted me. This is what Dad does every single week. He texts me a picture of his notebook that has the rundown, because we struggle with technology on this podcast. So instead of typing it,
technology, not you.
I try to make you feel better by saying we. Instead of typing it and putting it in a Google Doc and us sharing it, this is how we do it when the technology. But I had no idea what that meant, because I know Carson Kelly went 4 for 4 on Monday night with a cycle. Maybe that was what 4 for 4, but I didn't know. But it's first name, 4 letters, last name, 4 letters. Simple. Let's hear it.
All right. So Tony Pena is the catcher. Tony Pena caught more games, 1,950, without catching a no-hitter than anyone in Major League history. And he was a really good defensive catcher, especially. Norm Cash is our first baseman. Go back and look at his 1961 season once, Jeff. It was just incredible. And this still amazes me. Norm Cash drove in over 1,000 runs in his career and never had a walk-off RBI of any kind. No walk-off homer, no walk-off single. Never got hit by a pitch or walked with the bases loaded or hit a sacrifice fly to drive in a run as a walk-off RBI. Not one. And he was a really good player. Don't get me wrong. Okay, Jeff Kent is our second baseman. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, but he's on and off the ballot. We'll see where he goes from here. Pete Rose is our third baseman, and Bill Hall is our shortstop. I was going to go with Javi Baez, but his real name is Javier Baez, even though he goes by Javi. Bill Hall went by Bill Hall and had some great games, by the way, on Mother's Day. Another reason we've got Bill Hall as our shortstop. One of our outfielders, our premier outfield. Babe Ruth is the captain of the all 4x4 team. Okay.
And he's coming in relief as well.
Yes, he can pitch for this team also. Juan Soto, very much in the news every day, 4x4. Fred Lynn, he went by Freddie sometimes, but he's Fred Lynn to me. Adam Dunn is our designated hitter. And our pitcher, and this took a little while, Jeff, Vida Blue. And people who forget Vida Blue, oh my gosh, you should have seen him in the early 70s, Jeff. It was absolutely stunning how hard he threw, how great he was. And the owner of the Oakland A's came to him and said, for marketing purposes, we want you to change your name, your first name, to True. So his name would be True Blue. And Vida said, not a chance. By the way, how much better name is there than Vida Blue? I mean, who would want to ever change? If my name was Vida Blue, I'd be the happiest guy in the world. I mean, what a name. It's beautiful.
You don't like when people cold call us and say, is Mr. Kujerkajian there?
Jeff, I did a radio show. This is probably 15 years ago. The host introduced me as our guest, Tim Kujerkajian. That's what he said. So, yep. I mean, look, our name has been butchered more times than anybody. So, but I did have to explain. All right, it's actually Tim Kurkjian. He goes, geez, I'm sorry. He said, I thought there was a jerk in there somewhere. That's what he said about our last name. So, all right, enough of that.
Would you rather be Tim Kujerkajian or Tom Kurkjian?
Right. Well, Tom Kurkjian is another story, and we'll finish the podcast with this, okay? I went to an auction with your mother, Kathy, and they were auctioning off one of my books. And they auctioned it off like, come to our auction. Tim Kurkjian of ESPN is going to come to the auction, and we're going to auction off his book. And after 1 week, we got 11 likes after a week. And the guy who was running the auction calls your mom and says, oh, can't wait for Tim to come. It's blowing up. We have 11 likes. 11 in a week. Jeff, that's not even 2 a day. So they auction off my book, and the auctioneer, nice guy, not trying to be critical, holds my book up in the air and says, all right, he's here, the guy we've all been waiting for. You see him on TV every night. He's written a book. Mr. Tom Kurkjian is here. So I wasn't about to correct him, but for the rest of the afternoon at the auction, people were coming up to me, tapping me on the shoulder, slapping me on the back and say, Tom, it's really nice to meet you. So there you go, Tom Kurkjian.
I don't think he was a listener of Dan Le Batard. I think he just made a big mistake.
No, he just made a big mistake.
Well, thank you so much for listening. As always, thank you for being a part of our family. We'll be back with you a new episode on Tuesday.